You've been taking OBS Studio for granted. Yes, it's an amazing broadcasting and recording software, but content creators, especially live streamers, have been pushing the envelope so much that OBS became this beast, and you can do so much more with it now. So hopefully this video will be the first in a series of how to create animations with OBS Studio. And by animation, I do mean small motion design projects like this one. This is not a beginner tutorial, so we'll be using OBS Studio, of course. We'll be using a couple of plugins and also Streamerbot. But before we get into it, a quick message from our sponsor. And this video is sponsored by OwnPro. OwnPro is known to give you overlays, alerts, widgets, everything you need to start your stream, but they just came up with something pretty awesome. They just dropped a feature that allows your viewers to trigger sound alerts, but also visual alerts that will show up on your screen, not just in OBS, not just on stream, but on your whole monitor. Basically, you want to find this extension on Twitch, and the installation is pretty easy. You'll need to connect to your OwnPro account and configure the extension from there. Add a browser source for the sound alerts, then choose if you want sound only or also the visuals. You will need to download and install the software for the visuals. It installed super fast. Now, since it's showing on your screen, if you're not using display capture, you will need to add an additional browser source link so they can see it too. All right, let's add it as a panel. Then pick the effects that you would like to make available to your viewers. You can even preview them. Drag them to extension to add them to the extension, so it'll look like this, and drag them to the bottom for channel point rewards, and it'll show up here. And if you need any help, check out the quick setup guide. So click the link in the description and set it up for your stream. All right, second disclaimer is that I know this is not optimal. Duh, OBS Studio is not a motion design software. I don't personally use OBS Studio to do motion design. I just want to spark your creativity regarding a software that you already use and that you already have knowledge on. So take it as a fun little creative exercise. That being said, let's begin. So here we are in OBS Studio. We have Streamerbot open and on the ready. We're gonna add a brand new scene. We're gonna call this one Button. One thing that you may not know about OBS sources, or maybe you do, okay? But after all, you're a veteran in OBS Studio, is color source. So I'm gonna add a color source. I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna pick green. This is gonna be like our green screen. I might not keep it on screen because it's kind of harsh in the eyes. Like this is hard, but that's fine. We're gonna add another color source, and this one is gonna be gray. It's gonna represent the main shape of our button. Color source, nice. We're gonna call this one rectangle, and we're gonna select the color, and we're gonna go with something that is a little gray, just like that. Click OK. Now for the size, we can basically guesstimate it over here. So width, let's go with 1500. All right. And then height, let's go 400. So 1500 by 400. And we're going to right click to center this. We're going to go to transform, center to screen, or we can press Ctrl D. It's also useful to memorize the shortcuts. Okay. Let's add another color source. We're going to call this one bar. Click OK. And for the color, we want a darker-ish gray, like that. Now we know that the height was 400, so that's good. And for the width, we want something actually super small, like 20, 40. Let's go with 40. Okay, cool. Let's use another OBS typical option is to right-click, copy, or right-click, and then we're gonna paste a duplicate, not a reference. A reference means that it's pretty much the same source. Any modification will apply to the other one. Duplicate means it creates a new source just with the same attribute. So bar 2, I can double click on it and I can select the color red. We will probably change this once we have our logo. Click OK. Nice. And now what we can do is we can right click, and under transform, we could go center vertically. Nice. So we know it will be in line with this, and we can see there's 340 pixels on each side. We can also just grab and move this and just have the same result. There's also snapping, so that helps us a lot. We'll probably animate this, so let's just center it. Center to screen. Let me click on this one and press Ctrl D. That works. You might want to rename this like bar gray and bar red. The shortcut to rename layers is F2. Reminds me of FL Studio. Another element we will want is definitely the text. So we're going to go add text GDI. We can just click OK, and we're going to type subscribe in full caps. We can select the font right here. I'm going to go with Montserrat and bold. It's one of my favorite fonts. Click OK. Remember Ctrl D to center. Nice. The color doesn't really match right now, but we're gonna go ahead and find a YouTube logo so that we can match the colors. Okay, so right here from Google Images and Wikipedia, we find the logo, we click Save As. I'm gonna save it somewhere I can remember. Go back to OBS Studio. We're gonna click plus to add a new source. Click on image, call it logo, click browse, find that logo. You just downloaded it. I'm actually gonna sort by date, so it shows up on top. Boom. There we go. We have our YouTube logo. Now we can scale it. Dragging on the sides, of course. I'm also gonna center it. Control D. Nice. Now we can click on bar red As you can see here, we can select color directly or just double click and then select color. But actually we want to move this out of the way because we're going to color pick it. Right here, pick screen color. Boom. We have the right color. So for the text, I would like for it to be the same color because it's a good contrast against the gray background. I can even type it by memory now. So it's FF0000. There you go. Maybe I want the bell icon. So I'm going to find one. Save as. Go back. So right now we're just populating. We're just adding our layers and then we're going to move them around and also reveal them and hide them and all that good stuff, you know? Click plus, add an image. This one's going to be the bell right there. Easy clap so far. We're just adding layers. Remember the shortcut to center stuff? Control D. Nice. Okay, now this is the part where you start deciding the order of things. What do you want to appear first? Probably the YouTube logo. So I'm going to hide every layer except the YouTube logo. And then you can think of the specific animation. Now, the cool thing with OBS is that if you right click on it and you go to show transition, it says none, but I can set it to fade, for example. Now, when I reveal it, it fades in, right? Let me go back. I can even set the milliseconds. I can make it fade in 3 seconds. See that? So if that's something that you want to use, what I recommend is something like the Luma wipes, because there's a lot of options. Most of them look horrible and they look outdated, but some of them are pretty cool. Fractal, if you preview transition, not bad. Sinus 9, which is something that I actually use. There we go. There's Cloud, which is also pretty cool. Let's click OK and see what that looks like in 3 seconds. You see that? You see, this is OBS Studio, just OBS Studio. And Google Images, I guess. This is one type of way that you can probably trigger a bunch of layers to make them appear and create your animation that way. I just wanted to show you this. We'll decide later on if we want to use that or not. From now, I'm going to set show transition to none. But let's say we were to use the move transition plugin in order to do the animate in. I could use the scale. Maybe it could start from a small scale to a big scale, so it basically pops up. But in order to do that, we need to add the filter to the scene. So I'm going to right click on the scene here, go to filters, and I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to go find move source. This one I'm going to name logo mid, because that's going to be my middle position. My start position is going to be this one in the middle, but small. So it's going to go up to the mid. And then the final position would be when I put it to the left side of the screen. So I'll go to source, make sure I pick the right one, logo, cool. And then I'm going to go and click get transform. This is going to save the current position. See, POS, XY, of course, the rotation, the scale, but also the crop. And we're going to use that to our advantage. I also have the custom duration. So from the previous position to this one, how long it's going to last, which is something we're going to play around with too. All right, now I'm going to create the first position. I'm going to duplicate this just for the sake of time. And this is going to be logo start. And what I can do is go and manually move this around and then get position again, or I can go ahead and just play around with the values here. So what would it do? What would it do if I went 0.100 and then I make the filter visible? Of course, I should have taken into account that the scale is on both axes. So let's undo that by putting the original value. But at least I accidentally showed you that you can stretch stuff. So right now, let me go ahead and make this small. I don't want the scale to be 0 because the transition might be too drastic. I just pressed Ctrl D to center it. And now I can click get transform. I can click on logo mid to get to the mid position, logo start to get to the start position. Cool. There's also something called the easing function, and it's basically how the animation plays. You can kind of see that it slows down just a little bit before it hits, and that is due to the easing, ease in and out, but you can also make it elastic, for example. So if I go start and then logo mid, you can see that it adds a different animation. So play around with those. I'm going to put this to 600 milliseconds so we can see it better. Right now, I'm going to set this one to back because I kind of like the way it moves. The fact that it pulls back, goes over, and finally settles to the final position. All right, I actually like the order of the logo first, and then we're gonna bring in the rectangle. So in the same filter menu, I'm gonna create a move source for the rectangle. So this one is gonna be, well, rectangle. Rect fin for rectangle final position, because that's the final position it's gonna be in, right? I'm gonna go ahead and pick the right source, and I'm gonna click get transform. I'm gonna duplicate it, and this one will be rectangle start. What I can do now is I can stretch this or crop it because I want it to start from the middle. I'm gonna hold shift on my keyboard and drag the sides to stretch it. Do this until I bring it to the middle. Stretch it until it's completely invisible. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna click get transform. And just like that, I create another animation. So rectangle final, what I can also do is play around with the easing function, and I can also do the back and see what that looks like. We'll just keep it to cubic. Now let's duplicate the logo start so we can find the final position for the logo. Duplicate logo fin, or fin, if you will. And in this case, we want the logo to be, okay, that was the bell. There we go. Here, we can also rearrange those by clicking on the arrow. So final position there, start, I'm gonna put it all the way up. Keep it in an order, basically, in order of appearance, if you will. And we're just gonna do the same thing for the rest. One thing I also mentioned is that it takes into account the rotation also. So what I can do for bell start is actually add a little bit of rotation. I can do it directly in the values here, or I can select the source, press Ctrl E, and then here I can add the values. I want something like 15 degrees. There you go. It seems like the anchor point is top left, but you can actually change that. Position alignment, you can make it center. So that now when you rotate, it'll rotate from the middle. You know what? 30 degrees is fine. Let's click OK and let's press Ctrl D to center it. We're gonna click Get Transform for bell start. Let's see what it does. Nice. We accidentally changed the anchor point. So now it's doing this. We can just go to bell mid, Ctrl D. Well, select it, Ctrl D, Get Transform. Now we're back. So the anchor point is something you might want to take into consideration. All right, so technically we have everything in order. Logo start, logo mid, logo fin, rectangle start, rectangle fin, and we can play around with them. So rectangle, let's say I wanted that to disappear. I would go to fin, I would go to start, sorry, which would be the start position. And I can also set the start position to basically be super short, but this is your animation out duration because we are going to animate out. We're not gonna just leave it on screen. I'm just gonna click on all the starts. Okay, so it's all in position. Everything you see here is basically going to appear either via the OBS transitions that I showed you, or they're just gonna appear out of nowhere. So I'm gonna hide or unhide. Now is the part where we play around with the timing using Streamerbot. So let's go ahead and open up Streamerbot here. I think it's better if we open it up on the side like this, perhaps. There we go. And at least we can have a visual on what we're doing. I'm using Streamerbot 2.0 that just came out. To have better control over everything, we might want to create specific actions for every group. So one action with logo, one action with rectangle, bell, red bar, gray bar, and then text. So let's do exactly that. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna click on add, and this one will be logo. I have to create a group, call it sub button. Nice. And click OK. So when it comes to logo, what we want is right click under sub actions. We'll go to OBS. We'll go to scene, and then it will go to set scene filter state, because that's what the little I here is. The scene is button. The filter is logo mid, because the start actually needs to be at the end, believe it or not, because it's going to be the starting position. We want it to go back at the end, right? So we're gonna go with logo mid, click OK, boom. So it's gonna click on logo mid. It's gonna do this basically. Let's go back to start. And then I want it to wait. So core delay, and I want it to wait like 500 milliseconds. And then I want it to move to logo end, right? So I'm gonna duplicate this one instead of adding a new one. There we go. So now I can just double click and then logo fin. Nice. For now, we can keep it like this so it stays in its final position. And then later on, we'll add an action that basically hides everything back to their normal position. But that was logo. Let's add a new one, and that one would be rectangle. So in order, right? Group is gonna be sub button, click OK. So with rectangle selected, right click, OBS scene filter state. I think you basically get it. I'm just gonna play around with the values with the delays for each of them. So it's gonna be go to mid, wait, go to end, and that's it. Rectangle fin is actually the only one that I need here because there's no mid. Okay, now that I have all my main movements, I'm gonna add a final action. This one's gonna be animation. And basically, I'm gonna use this in order to trigger each action with delays in between them. Sub button, click OK. And then when you right click and you go to core, you can actually trigger some actions. Run action. So of course, we want to do it in order. So which action do I want? I want the logo. I forgot that for some, I have to make them visible first because I want them to be hidden at the end and not look like this clump. So let's do that. Logo. OBS sources, source visibility state, visible, put it on top, copy sub action, paste sub action, double click, switch it to the corresponding one. Same thing for the rest. Okay, now let's go back to animation. So now with animation, we can play specific actions. So I'm gonna go to core, actions, and then run actions. And here we can pick specific actions. For example, I would like to start with the logo, run action immediately. Nice. Now I can add a delay. And of course, we're going to play around with the delay until we find something that we like. I know it's going to take 800 milliseconds for the action to complete, but I don't want it to wait for it. So I'm going to put 600 instead. So by the time the logo reaches the left side, the rectangle should go ahead and spread out. Can duplicate the action, double click, and this action is going to be rectangle. Nice. Duplicate the delay, duplicate the action. After rectangle, what do we have? The bell, or maybe the red bar, and then the bell, then the gray bar, then finally the text. And then I added a little shake to the bell. We want that to happen way after the text. So let's put like 2 seconds and then make the shake happen. Bell shake. Nice. Now for the action out, because this triggers everything and sets everything in place, what we can probably do is create another action just for hiding everything. We can call it animation out. And then here we can set everything to going back to their original position and being hidden. So OBS scenes, set scene filter state. In our case, we want to start also in order. Let's do logo out basically. Logo fin, if you will. And maybe I'll add an animation out. You know, there's show transition, there's also hide transition. Maybe I'll add a hide transition so that I can just tell Streamerbot to hide it immediately and then the transition will show at the same time. So while it's traveling back to its original position, if I had a fade, for example, it would fade out at the same time. So let's do that. So scene filters, the scene filter state for logo is gonna be the end. So logo fin. And then under source, we're gonna go to set source visibility, gonna be logo, and we want it to be hidden. And now we're just gonna duplicate and modify everything so that it matches every layer. Okay, one thing I wanna do is add some delay in between each source. So let's do that now. I should have done it before, but hey, whatever. 300 milliseconds, very fast. So everything is gonna be hidden very, very fast. I'm just gonna drag this up here. So I have my text, as you can see, filter state, text fin, visibility state, text GDI, hidden, and then wait, and then basically bring logo back to initial position and then hide logo. So let's duplicate, keep on doing that. And there it is. Since we have all of our animation out in one single action, we can go back to that animation and we can just add a delay to make the whole animation wait basically before it goes away. So core, delay, and let's say 5 seconds. I don't know why I added it here, but after 5 seconds, let me put it down there. After 5 seconds, what I want you to do is play an animation, play an action, sorry. And the run action needs to be our animation out. Nice. This will reset everything. Okay. So basically, that's it. That's it. Play the first animation, wait 600 milliseconds, wait. After you played the text, wait 2 seconds, shake the bell, wait 5 seconds. Maybe that's too much actually. Let's put 3 seconds after it shook the bell. There we go. Now we just need to find a way to trigger this sub-action, the animation sub-action, and we can do it multiple ways. We can use hotkeys, we could use like a stream command. Wait, actually, no, we're not ready. We need to add the animation out on every source first. So let's do that. And now let's right click on every thing and go to hide transition, and we can do fade, we can do whatever. Let's do fade. It's gonna be, we don't need to do too much, you know what I mean? And it's set at 800 milliseconds, maybe 300. We should be Gucci. Let's go with commands. We can create like a chat command. This has nothing to do with Twitch, but I'm gonna create exclamation mark animation and I'll go in my chat to trigger it. And delete that. Go to core, commands, command triggered, animation. Let's click OK. And on an other screen, I'll go to my chat, pressing enter now. Okay, not bad. Not over. A lot of things did not happen there. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's try it out. I actually fixed it to have everything invisible at the end and everything appear. Pressing enter now. I don't know what's up with the logo. Yeah, so something happened where this is what the filter is. So it did its job. Apparently the mistake is on my part. So let me find logo and get transform. Okay. All right, let's try it out again. No. Close, but no. I put final instead of start. That's why it's not going back to the start position, because I set the animation out to the final position and not the... Okay, let me fix that. One last thing I'm going to do is actually for the text, I want an animate in. So show transition, I want that to be, yeah, let's say fade. Okay, let's try it out. Nice. Nice. Keep in mind that you can add your own sound effects at the same time. Okay, that's great. Oh, that works. Okay. Whew. You have no idea. You have no idea. It's been 1 hour and 31 minutes. Of course, this is my first time doing this. We did it. We absolutely did it. Now, the extra amazing part of this is that, remember the green screen that we put? Boom. Nice. So now, if we play the animation while recording, I can record, play the animation, stop the recording, and now I have successfully created assets that YouTubers can use. You can import this to your phone when you're editing, and you can put that. If you want to put your logo instead of the YouTube logo, you can also set that. Even in OBS Studio, if you're recording something like a podcast and you would like this little pop-up so that you limit the amount of editing that you want to do, you can add this as a media source. Media source, click OK, and go find it right there. I'm going to set it to loop just for demonstration. And here it is. Now it's something that is meant to be super small in a corner somewhere. And of course, with a chroma key filter. So I'm going to right click, filters, press plus, chroma key, click OK. There you go. This was done in OBS with no external software. It's not the best looking animation. It's not the most professional. I could have made it way better if I spent more time on it, but just as a demonstration to show you that it is possible to do it with OBS only, and of course Streamerbot, that's not bad. That is really not bad. And of course, with this knowledge, you can create this for any platform that you would like to have an animation on. Maybe your Twitch channel, when you're posting clips, you would like to have a little something to show in a corner. There it is. There it is. You can make it in OBS Studio. You don't have to. You can use any other software that is dedicated for motion design, but it is also possible with OBS Studio. It took me 1 hour, and it was the first time I was doing this. And there it is. You can use this knowledge to create whatever you want, really. And if you do, post it on Twitter and tag me. If you have ideas for the next animation that I could make, leave them in the comment section below. A quick shout out to my channel members, especially Charms, Pixie Bluey, and Boomshaka_RSA. You can join by clicking the button below. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Go out there, make me proud, get level, out.